and welcome to WyoToday Sports Live here on 101.7 KDNO. As we said last week, we're not going to try and fool you and say happy Friday because we'd be giving the Riverton results from yesterday. It is Thursday that we're pre-recording it because Cody is headed to
Glen Rock.
And I'm headed to Casper, and good old Ernie and Jerry, who I think you're going to enjoy the team of that, are at home with the Lander Invite. And Josh Livingood, our new play-by-play guy, will be joining Marshall for the Thermopolis broadcast of the Lander Invite. And we'll get into all this. Now, like we've said a couple times said on the show today, if you're listening on Thursday, if you listened on Thursday and heard that, hey, there's this buzzing noise on KDNO, we've moved some games around. Don't worry, Cody, I got a copy for you. So the way the schedule is looking for Wyoming Indian is specifically the one that's going to be affected by it. Normally, of course, on 991 KWYW. Their game on noon on Friday, which I think you've got two back-to-back right there, noon and 1:30. Those will be on 93.1 KFCW as well as our live stream. And then the one that is Friday night starting at 6, and I think there's just one game then.
Two.
Perhaps there's
back-to-back games.
You're going to be on KTAK.
Okay.
For that, we will most likely probably put on KWYW2 because that signal gun goes, so it might be simulcast, it might not. Your best bet is, of course, get on YouTube and you can watch it as well. But if you're driving, you can always not watch it, but you can have it playing through your auxiliary speaker, your auxiliary plug-in or what have you. And then on Saturday, Wyoming Indian with their 8:30 going all the way till really 11:30 noon. Your two games on Saturday morning, Cody, are going to be on 93.1 KFCW. And then you're going to have the first of two, only the first, so I think it's probably the girls, but you probably know better than I do. Whoever plays Saturday at 3 o'clock, whether it's the Chiefs or Lady Chiefs. So the Lady Chiefs, they will be on KTAK, but the boys will be on 991 KWYW in the live stream because we then have Lander and Riverton come on. So we've had to play a few games. As we said, the parts are on order, so we just wanted to put that out there. And for Chiefs fans, Cody had mentioned he's going to make sure it's available on Chiefs Nation and things of that nature. This will be yours once we're off air, and I'll go over it real quick. So we want to take a look at the schedule this week. It's basketball. It's kind of funny, Cody, because basketball comes in full force for about 9 days, 8-9 days, and then we die for about 2.5 weeks. So, but boy, it's everybody getting tested this weekend.
Yeah, it's a big weekend. It's not like preseason anything. Yeah, it's full force. Tomorrow, I believe we're broadcasting like 7 or 8 games on the network. Saturday, another 7 or 8 games, and we broadcast more basketball, 9 games each day. We broadcast more basketball from the high school level than any radio station, any radio ownership in the state, and we do it proudly. I just want to say welcome to Josh Livingood. Man, I wish I had a name like that. That is the most positive name on the planet. And so welcome aboard, Josh. And it's a good team. Kevin does a good job leading us, and we're excited because the 25-26 season brings in some really good basketball. I mean, Thermopolis, the preseason number 1 and 2A. Wyoming Indian boys right behind them at number 2. The Wyoming Indian girls, number 2 in the state preseason. But Thermopolis and Wyoming Indian are going to play each other in about a month, and that's going to be a blast. That one's going to be at Ethity, but just a lot of competitive lower-level basketball. And then you've got Lander, which I'm guessing Lander will be decent. They always are under Stu Mullins. And then Riverton, there's some question marks out there because some players are going to be out for the season. Blake Gantenbein being one of those after a football injury.
He's the only one that we know is out for the season with his knee. Of course, Clay Sheets still mending a broken hand, but he's playing. It's kind of weird because the lack of experience on Riverton this year. Eric Smith, leading scorer returning, averaged about 7. Bo Anderson about 3-ish. are really your two most experienced, and then Clay Sheets. Yet when we, in the same hand, we say inexperience, 8 seniors on this team. So.
Yeah, and they always have upcoming players. Wolverines, sophomore, juniors. Dick Quayle and the other coaches do an outstanding job prepping these kids. So, Riverton may not be at full strength for a while, but they'll be there in the end. So it's an exciting basketball season.
Treber coming back after not playing for 2 years.
Yep.
Several. They're as healthy as they're going to be coming into the season, quite frankly. Clay Sheets' hand will get better, but the good part is he's still able to play and stuff. It's not, talking with Coach Bo, it's not as bad as they thought. And that was more from Coach Bo, the father, than Coach Bo, the coach. So, I saw him at practice. He was fully dressed, didn't look to be limited. Blake, not ever gonna play. I mean, unfortunately for him, senior season and whatnot, and he's not gonna be able to play that. It remains to be seen, but I doubt it. I haven't heard anything official that he probably won't be playing soccer either.
Yeah, we just don't know those details yet.
But we do know he is out for basketball. Conversely, the girls return all but one. They didn't graduate anybody. They add a couple, so it'll be really fun to see what players like what Timber Mathill can do in her senior year, what Lexi Taylor can do, the volleyball signee at South Dakota School of Mines, what Taylon Leesburg can do, and the progression of a very exciting freshman, Carson Vosica, from last year. What has happened with her game? It's going to be a real interesting year, and unfortunately, for the future, and not saying anything, I mean, they've got a lot of developing young kids, but they went from graduating no one to a ton of seniors this year. So that'll be fun. So let's jump right into the schedules. Today, we have just 2 games. We start you off light, like a little appetizer. This is the fried cheese sticks of the basketball weekend for you. We just have 2 games. They are at 3 and 4:30, and it is Riverton facing Laramie. If you're thinking about going down to that game, or you're in Casper, it's part of the Casper Compete Classic. It will be at the Wyoming Sports Ranch, court number 4. We don't have a clue how the setup's going to be. They've taken at least care of us, but traditionally, when you look at photos and stuff of it online, there's really no bleachers. People are just kind of sitting. They partition all 4 courts. So we are on Wyoming Sports Ranch, Court 4 at 3 o'clock. Hampton Suites pregame show on 93.9 at about 2:45.
Well, and that's the Sports Ranch for people who haven't been to the event center. Brand new facility, privately funded, built right there beside the Casper Event Center, Ford Wyoming Center. So, it's a wonderful facility. It's exactly the type of facility that we're envisioning to build someday right here in Riverton.
Well, and it'll be interesting, too. For those of you who maybe have band kids or something, or going down the game going, I don't know where it is. During state band, that's where Riverton warmed up. It's where the bus dropped them off. It's literally right across. If you're looking at it when you come in, it's to the left. It's just right there.
Guarantee you the wind blows hard at the Wyoming Sports Ranch. It's up on that hill where the wind loves to blow at the event center.
It's going to be fun. And one of the things I was happy to hear, and kudos to Riverton, whether it's school board or Max, the AD, there was a rumor going around, and we blew that one out of the water, that they were going to be commuting back and forth each day because it was just Casper to save some money. That's not the case. They are staying down there, which actually will lend itself better because, again, you got a tough opponent in Laramie today. Then we turn around tomorrow, and that's where we have 9 different games on WyoToday Sports Network, and we start as early as, I think you might be first, or Lander's got a 9. Can you beat that?
No, Wyoming Indian opens at noon. The Lady Chiefs, of course, last year's state runner-ups. It's an interesting matchup because it's a rematch of the Class 2A state championship game. A lot of the returners back, except the all-state point guard for Tongue River, Afton Cummins, who has transferred over to Bighorn High School inside the same school district. The son of Amanda Cummins wanted to play football at Bighorn, and so Amanda Cummins, after coaching 2 straight state championships in Tongue River, left her job
Family
at
first.
Tongue River And Afton is now a Bighorn Lady Ram, and so we'll see her play next weekend when we're up there for the Foothills Classic. But then the boys will take on Tongue River, Wyoming Indian boys, and then tomorrow night it'll be the 2A versus 3A matchup as Wyoming Indian meets Glen Rock on their home court. And then Saturday, of course, we'll go to Wright and play 4 games.
So on Friday, so Friday, if we go in order of what we've got, we'll start out on 9-1 KFCW, Ernie and Jerry. And I don't think you've met Jerry yet. He's a good dude. Loves sports, moved here with his wife just not too long ago and immediately contacted us. He's also, you're going to see his name in the paper. He's going to write some for us as well. But tomorrow we kick off the day at 9 a.m. as Lander girls will face Pinedale in the field house at Lander, part of the Lander invite. Then as we move on throughout the day, then at noon, we've got a couple games. On KFCW, we will have your games.
Wyoming
Indian at noon and 1:30. And then also at noon and 1:30 on 93.9 KTAK, I'll be bringing you another tall test for a team trying to put things together, but that's a good thing. They face Sheridan at noon and 1:30. So then we take a bit of a break. That's it for Riverton on the day. That's their games, noon and 1:30. And then we'll come back at 4:30, I think, is next up with Lander versus Thermopolis, and that is the girls. That game will be brought to you on 93.1 KFCW as well as 101.7 KDNO. It'll be live streamed, so we'll have the Thermopolis Thermopolis covers with Marshall and Josh, and then Ernie and Jerry with Lander. So you get to pick which one there. Both of them live streamed. At 5 is you, I do believe,
6
again.
o'clock.
6 o'clock's first game. So at 6 o'clock, we've got 2 games going on then. We've got Wyoming Indian playing at 6 and 7:30. That will be on 93.9 KTAK. We've been doing a lot of moving and working things out, and you'll understand when we get into it on Saturday especially. And then also at 6 o'clock will be the Lander Tigers versus Thermopolis Bobcat boys. Of course, Thermopolis, the defending state champions at their level, playing up a level at the Lander Invite. Those games will be available again on 101.7 and 93.1. And of course, your girls' game starts at 6, and you'll nightcap us at 7:30 with the Wyoming Indian boys.
We'll get the entire schedule out on WyoToday. It'll be available all day on Friday, the schedule, and we'll try to get scores posted on WyoToday as quickly as we can.
And I will try and get that up and running sometime tonight. If I get a chance, if you get a chance, you've got to log in, I'll go ahead. So then we go on to Saturday, and at last count, and it's been so many moves and so unofficial, we've actually got 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, we do have 4 Lander games. So we've got 12 games on Saturday.
Wow.
And we have 12 games, and that's, Cody, that's not counting. Thermopolis doesn't have a game. So between 3 teams, they all play double headers. Of course, on Friday, too, on some of our stations, and you'll hear us say it live on the air, mentioning some of our last-minute stuff the bus will be located. We've got 2 of them going on tomorrow. We've got 2 of them one in Lander and one at Sutherland's here in Riverton on Saturday. So you'll hear live remotes at times right after the games, but also you'll hear us talking about it. We have more kids than ever before that need a little help this Christmas and gifts and things of that nature. So at any of these locations, when you hear, say we're at Sutherland's or we're at, for example, Fast Lane tomorrow in Shoshone, when we say, hey, between these hours, come on out, new unwrapped toys, we do take checks. Please, we'll take cash, but I almost say please don't bring it because we do have policy. We want to make sure that it's protected and we don't want something to happen at a retail store. And Fastlane, kudos to them in Shoshone. They've set up what are called gable boxes. Basically, it's a pallet with sides, cardboard sides, and they've been collecting toys for a while. And when I say they stuffed that bus, we had like pickup trucks out there last year. We had a million different things going on. Difference is this year is all of us are all over the place. So we got basketball, we got stuff the bus going on. So we want to thank Alexa for helping us out with that. We also want to thank the United States Marine Corps, who's going to come, and they're having their Poolie event. All their people who are going to be new recruits, and they're going to help us unload the bus and help us out with that.
And they will do push-ups after they finish unloading the toys.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then they'll be like, at work? What work? Yeah, this was nothing. And I'm told that because Natrona County doesn't have any broadcast for Natrona County schools for basketball, that the Natrona County recruiting officer's been a little bit jealous of Stover and Martin before him and things of that nature. And so he's going to be coming on the air with me and doing some color for the next 2 days. He won't be with me on Saturday, but that is the case. So we'll have nobody. The hardest working person, oddly enough, on Saturday for us, and possibly Friday too, is going to be Leanne Bordoppin, between getting the live remotes and everything else. And so,
it's a big weekend of basketball. And we'll get the schedule out there so that you can tune in and watch your favorite teams all weekend long. It's going to be a blast. Of course, we'll turn around and do the same thing the following weekend.
Yeah, it takes a team the following weekend. I forget where you're at. We're Wyoming Indian that next
Bighorn
weekend.
Over in Sheridan County.
Of course, as usual, I'll be down in Rock Springs and Green River. Josh with Thermopolis Bobcats are going to be down in Green River as well. They're only playing on 2 days. They usually come in on the Friday instead of Thursday. We'll be going on Thursday, and we'll get into that as well probably next week, but we'll tease a little bit of it this week. So Saturday's schedule, the first one up on Saturday is going to be me. Actually, is going to be Riverton. They're at the Ford. And by the way, the Sheridan games on Friday are at the Ford Wyoming Center if you're going down. So we go from kind of a hard broadcast, never broadcast at Wyoming Sports Ranch before. Myron and a couple others who work there are really being a great help. Appreciate them. And then Saturday morning, I'll start us off on 939 KTAK from the Ford Wyoming Center, as well as Riverton will face the 3A defending state champions, at least on the boys side, in Lovell. So that'll be a real interesting game.
What time is that?
That is at 8 a.m. at 9:30. And then we will immediately roll into on KFCW with you starting, I think, at 9 a.m.
Wyoming Indian and Wright.
And those will go on, and then we'll go right into our Sutherland's live remote on everything once we're done. That's from 10 to 2. Then our next game up will be at 10:30. Oh, we've got an issue.
Chiefs will play at 10:30.
Oh, no, never mind. I was looking at the wrong day. I apologize.
The bottom line.
I was looking at JV. So we don't have 12 games. We have 11. So then at 11, Lander. No, we do have 12. Lander is facing Newcastle at 11 and 12:30. So one of your games may start out on KFCW and then move to KWYW. They've got Lander versus Newcastle 11 and 12:30, and then we've got a slight break until about 3:30 when you will start back up. And the reason I say 3 or 3:30 is, as people know, these invitationals, after about 2 games, you start to get off on time.
You can, yeah.
and run late. So at 3 o'clock, you will be on KTAK with Wyoming Indian versus
Sundance.
And then the 4:30 game, the boys will move over to KWYW. And then our nightcaps are going to start at 5 o'clock. And those are Lander versus Powell on the girls' side. Then at 6:30, immediately following it, will be Lander versus Rollins on KFCW. And then I will be back at Wyoming Sports Ranch number 4. And that will be against Worland at 5 and 6:30. So a long day for all the teams on Saturday. And I just realized I said I would get it posted tomorrow. You're listening to this on Friday, so we'll get it posted yesterday.
It was posted yesterday.
We'll have it posted tonight. We'll have it posted yesterday evening once I get into my hotel, or Cody, if you got a chance. And if you'll double check me, if I do it, I'll double check you, because we've got all sorts of movement going around, and in fact, we missed one here that is going to affect the Wyoming Indian. Wyoming Indian, probably their first game Saturday morning, going to be on KFCW. Second game will be on 99.1 KWYW. Of course, every last one of these will be live streamed on our YouTube page. Generally like to put some links on Facebook if we get a chance, saying, oh, here's where you can catch this game. We'll try and make sure we get that done as well. And it's going to be a real interesting test, but they don't have a lot of rest. Like you said, they head to different tournaments the next weekend. Lander, once again, will head to Lander for another invitational style tournament. You're headed to next weekend
Bighorn and
the Bighorn Basin, Tongue River, and then I'll be headed to Rock Springs and Green River. Unfortunately, we're going to have to make a choice. We haven't made it as of yet. We'll make it kind of in the next half week or so. The first day of the game in Rock Springs, well, they're both in Green River that day, is the girls and boys for the Wolverines play at the exact same time at two different places. One's at Green River High School, one's at Lincoln Middle. They're close, which if I had 15 minutes or we join in progress, but with them starting at the same time, I can't be in two places at once. So we'll have to make a decision on that. But the rest of the way out, we're good, and we'll get those. We'll talk about those next week here on WyoToday Sports Live.
The main thing, folks, we've probably thoroughly confused you with all the times, is make sure to go to WyoToday and get the full broadcast schedule. We'll update with scores throughout the weekend, and go Fremont County. I mean, it's time. It's basketball time. It's a great way to spend the winter inside a nice warm gym.
Absolutely, and the weather's going to be nice. So if you're thinking about coming down to either Casper or any other location, the weather looks like it's going to be pretty darn decent. Saturday it starts to get a little more seasonably cold here in Riverton, but we're looking at high 40s and 50s and even 60 degrees here today. So we look forward to bringing this to you, and of course, then next weekend we've got a whole list of invitationals again, and then we will take a bit of a break until January, and then we have some of us have another whole round of invitationals. Of course, Riverton will be headed to Cheyenne, and big game in Billings coming up for Wyoming Indian, and some very exciting things. The only unexciting part of it for the Riverton Wolverine faithful is we don't have a home game till late January.
That's crazy.
We have 6 of them this year. It's not a whole lot less. Usually people will say, well, we have 10. Well, we have 10 because we have 4 in 3 days with the Stranigan. But, the seniors, they do have 6. And it is, as Coach Bo Sheets probably summed it up best. I didn't put this part in the article because it wasn't really apropos to a preview, but it is what it is. We get an opportunity and the privilege to go play. You and I get the opportunity and privilege to go call these games. So it is where it is, and we here at WyoToday, aka me, on this one, make sure these guys eat well. So don't think that they have to eat Maverick and stuff like that the whole time. And go out and get yourself a good meal, Cody.
Yeah, we have to, though. He makes us.
Yeah, no.
Eat a lot of sunflower seeds.
The sad part is, like, after the game's up, we wind up eating a lot of that stuff because there's nothing open when we're headed home. It's usually us and the teams pulling into a Maverick, and you see the horror in the one guy's face running the whole store as we all converge on it.
I don't know about that. But,
I mean, he goes from having 1-2 people an hour at midnight or something like that to having 20 of us show up all at once.
True.
And I just want to give a special shout out for Wyoming Indian, for all of them, whether they're at home or on the road, but especially the road this weekend. The unsung heroes of this whole thing are the bus drivers who get those teams down there. They're really good ladies and gentlemen. They got great attitudes about it. But I mean, you want to talk about, the coach tells you when he wants to leave, when he wants to go practice, when he wants to do this. You're kind of you're in a hotel just waiting to get your marching orders, so to speak. And they do it with with a smile on the face. They're always the first ones to call out across a hotel parking lot to me or to you. And, they don't always get the credit. They usually don't get the credit they deserve when we're coming home and South Pass looked like last year it was raining rocks of sleet/snow. They get credit then, but hey, guys, I mean they're the ones who make sure everybody gets where they're going on time, gets to the restaurants, gets the food, gets everything. Kudos to them.
Couldn't do it without bus drivers. Couldn't do it without referees. So make sure you exhibit good sportsmanship.
Absolutely, and we'll see how things go at WSR4. Like I said, I don't know how fan-friendly it's going to be for a high school tournament. They put on some great youth tournaments, though, so I anticipate it'll be just the same. And, of course, Ford Wyoming Center. And one of the things that Coach Bosner had talked to me about, Cody, was because the girls are building a program. And it's a long process, and we all know that. This is going to be their first time getting to play in Ford Wyoming Center, and he's always wanted them to be able to do it. Of course, usually you have to qualify for state for it. Unfortunately, the Riverton Lady Wolverines haven't. So they'll get to play in it twice. And for us as broadcasters, it's probably the easiest place we broadcast because they have power and Ethernet like every 16 inches.
Excellent. Yeah, it's the Ford Wyoming Center, of course, it's good to get that experience preseason, because that's where the state tournament takes place and the state championship. So always good to get an extra game in there.
Yeah, so and it's kind of funny because for the teams and for us as broadcasters, we kind of begin the season and end the season in the same way, in the fact that we just got so many games in such a short time period. We begin and end it where the middle of the season's kind of relaxed and easy for us. It's just not the same. This year, if you check out, we'll make sure we're going to bring back, now that we're back to high school sports, we'll bring back in the Ranger Lander Journal the sports calendar and the sports scoreboard, so you can follow all those games here, and we're going to try and work in. I haven't told Cody this yet. We'll see how he reacts to it. It does look like we have some nights where, like, for example, Fort Washakie or Du Bois is at Fort Washakie or is at St. Stephen's or whatnot. We have some days where we don't have games of our normal 4 schools. So we're going to try and hit those smaller schools. We have more, at least for Riverton, we have more Tuesday games. That means we have like 2 or 3 of them than we normally have in the past, including one that's in Evanston, which is weird for a Tuesday night. But hey, we did Cheyenne East on a Thursday once.
Kevin. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm staying the night down there. But that's always a fun trip. Evanston's a fun broadcast location. So, and of course, they've got one of the best sports crews broadcast-wise in the state as well.
Yeah, they do a great job.
So outside of that, of course, can catch all the Wyoming Pokes and most of the Lady Cowboys on 991 KWYW. We broadcast both. There is a hierarchy to it, with Wyoming Indian getting priority if they're playing at the same time. But boy, the Pokes off to a really, really good start. Really, only real loss that's not fixable per se was Texas Tech, but only lose by 4. They were right there with them. And the only reason I say it's not fixable is it was a great game played by both teams. The game that was fixable was the loss in Louisiana, where they shot 20% from the free throw line. So Pokes off to a great season. Still
unbeaten at home.
Yeah, a couple more non-conference schedules for everybody across the country. And then January, of course, everybody hits their conferences hard. And for the Mountain West this year, what will they be? They'll probably be a 2-bid league, but maybe they can get a 3rd or a 4th. Who knows? That'll be determined. But it's wide open this year. I don't know if anybody else has watched any San Diego State basketball or anything of that nature. They're good, but they're not what they've been the past several years. So wide open league, and see if the Pokes can stay in the running throughout January and February.
I wanted to make a couple announcements before we get into picks. First, congratulations, as we said last week, to Mark Lenhart and his staff. Mark is going to be the North coach in the Wyoming Shrine Bowl coming up in June. There will undoubtedly be a handful of Riverton Wolverines and other county football players on those teams. So that'll be good news. Again, congratulations to Mark Lenhart. Excuse me. But moving forward with that, don't know that it's okay to announce it yet, but I'm going to do it. Riverton has signed up thanks to Star Valley High School helping them get in, but they're going to play in a football rumble over at Idaho State University in Pocatello to open the football season. The Wolverines will play a team from Idaho inside the dome at Idaho State, and Star Valley will be the other Wyoming team involved in that. We're pretty excited about it. The only down part of that is the game will be played the same day as the Border War, Wyoming CSU down in Fort Collins. But Riverton will get to open on a Saturday over at Idaho State University against a team from Idaho as part of their non-conference schedule in the Rumble inside the dome. And for all these kids, it'll be the first time that they've ever played football inside of a dome. So that's exciting. It shows that this Riverton program is continuing to grow.
Well, and we got the perfect solution for you. Watch the Wyoming on CBS Sports Network or whatever game it's on. Put that thing on mute and open up your laptop or your computer. Live stream you calling Riverton and Pocatello. Or you can just put it on the radio. So you can keep up with both. Obviously, huge rivalry, a huge opportunity for Riverton, huge rivalry for Wyoming. So that'll be a fun weekend, a fun way to start out the football season in 2026.
It's never too soon to talk about football.
No, it's not. And speaking of which, because I didn't bring the picks from last weekend here, Baylor returned to his preseason or his early season ways and allowed me to come back in and tie it up. But I just want to say, because everybody thought I was going to pick, but yeah, Kirby Smart, Georgia over Alabama. Ha, 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 ha. I know it's bad when Cody, who likes to talk a lot of trash to me, texts me in the third quarter going, this is a beatdown.
It was.
Right now, here's where we stand, and we're going to have kind of the way we're going to do these picks at the end of the football season is that will be our football championship, but we're going to keep a year-long pick thing. From when we started this show, we'll end it with with the beginning of football season, start a new one. So we will be transitioning to some basketball. Unless someone tells me we got to put NBA on there, we'll probably stick with college basketball for the most part.
No NBA.
And then we'll start having some fun with Saturday baseball. We'll have all sorts of fun. We're going to make this fun. And just to mess with Cody, at one point in time, we'll have India-Pakistan cricket as one of our pick'ems. But Cody leads right now at 54-24. He got a nice 6-game lead on myself and Baylor, who are at 48-30. This week, not quite as much, but still what I think is a game that's the most indicative of the greatness and the pageantry of college football. It kind of still, in this day, even with the transfer portal and NIL, shows what greatness college football can be. And it's kind of weirdly scheduled because if Navy had made the AAC championship, they would have played their conference championship and then had a regular season game the next week. That I don't know how that could affect things, but it could. But we've got, of course, the service academies. Again, great game to watch. Army versus Navy. I guess I'll pick first. My dad would come out of the grave being a Navy man and kill me if I didn't go with them. This year it makes it a little bit easier as they're like 10-2 or 9-2 going in their 12th game. 9-2. I'm going with a Navy midshipman.
Navy, an excellent season. The midshipmen have just been off the charts good, and I love the fact that it's this weekend when they're playing because they get the showcase all to themselves, and everybody will tune in. So
there's 2 other games that day, and that's it. Well, not on FCS, but
yeah, that's the game everybody will watch. Yeah. It's going to be Navy winning that game.
And as much as we're picking that, don't sleep on Army. Don't think because of records, because Army's going to come out, run that wishbone, try and make it where it's 4 or 5 possessions tops, make everyone matter. And the coolest part to me at that game is at the end when they stand first for the losers theme. Hopefully Armies, and then they stand for the Navy one and pay respect. Because what people don't realize is they're just like any other school. They've got some guys who 3 days from that game, could be on an aircraft carrier, could be in Iraq or somewhere overseas. They've got guys who immediately are going to transition because they're done. They're at the end of their schooling, so to speak, and it's time to go. So it's always an emotional game. There's always some tears by seniors and whatnot, win, lose, or draw. So congratulations to both those teams. Next up, kind of the Mountain West has a game, of course, Pack Traders, as Cody would say.
Pack Stabbers.
Pack Stabbers, excuse me. And it's kind of early on for a kind of bigger matchup in the bowl season. It is, and I'm going to enunciate here and get it proper, the bucked up LA Bowl features the Boise State Broncos, of course, Mountain West champions. Kind of weird for a conference champion to be playing this early in the bowl season. And they've got a big test as they will face the Washington Huskies.
Yeah, it'll be the Huskies by 2 touchdowns. Boise State's not near the team that they used to be, but it'll be interesting to see if Boise can pull a few tricks out of their hat and hang with the Huskies.
I'm going with Washington as well. Washington, kind of one of those teams. They're in the midst of building back from what Kellen DeBoer had, and they made a lot of strides this year, but it kind of got overshadowed, and in part because they're in the Big Ten, and of course you had Ohio State, you had Indiana, you had Oregon. It just overshadowed it. Next up, we're going to go to FCS, a Big Sky game, and that is South Dakota, who just beat down the Mercer Bears at Mercer last week. And the only reason I can say that, my father-in-law's voiced the Mercer Bears, and it was like 48-0. It was over before it started. And South Dakota, not a high seed. Mercer was. And just South Dakota showed why Big Sky, that area of the country, is dominant at FCS level. Of course, they've got a tall task as they go to face the Montana Grizz.
Yeah, you're not going to beat the Grizz at home. It'll be Montana. I did want to point out a little interesting tidbit. Wyoming's out there looking for a quarterback that can come in and be game ready, and rumor has it that they're looking at the Mercer quarterback who had an outstanding freshman season, 32 touchdown passes, and led the resurgence of Mercer. So it'll be interesting to see if that young man ends up in Laramie.
He did. Of course, Mercer's head coach left yesterday. He went to FBS. He's headed to Toledo.
Wyoming also looking for an offensive coordinator, and apparently that offensive coordinator is one of the best at Mercer.
Mercer just brought back football in the past 10 years, and then the past 2 years they've made the FCS playoffs. So, but I'm going with Montana as well. I agree with you. Of course, FCS having all sorts of upsets last week. If I'm not mistaken, South Dakota State, home. They're done. Of course, the big one, North Dakota State, defending national champions, 12-0, at home, the 1 seed, upset by Illinois State in North Dakota. So North Dakota said there will be a new champion. There'll be a new champion that we haven't seen in a while too, because in between North Dakota State with Sam Houston State, I don't even think they're not any longer as far as FCS goes.
I want to give a tip of the hat to Rick and Josephine Gilpatrick here in Riverton. Their grandson is a wide receiver who played a lot for North Dakota State last week. So congratulations to them.
That was just a weird game. I mean, I think it had probably FCS doesn't draw a ton of ratings, but I'm willing to bet, especially around here and in other places of football diers, as they kept getting that score. Once it got in that final 5 minutes or final 15 minutes of actual time during the game, I'm willing to bet the ratings kind of went up because people aren't used to North Dakota State losing to an unranked Illinois State, who had 4 losses on the season.
The views on YouTube went through the ceiling, I can tell you that.
Okay, then we go on to the pros, and we've got 2 very interesting games, both involving teams out of Los Angeles this week. We've got the LA Chargers facing the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City.
The Chiefs took one on the chin last week, no longer eligible for a division title. They're gonna stomp all over the Chargers this week. It's gonna be ugly because Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the old guard, so to speak, they want to make a statement, and they're still eligible if they win out the last 4 games for the playoffs.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think San Diego, LA, the Chargers are a very good team. I just think the Chiefs, at least in this game, back against the wall, they'll kind of win out at this point in time to have a chance that they'll take it. And next up, the Lions at the surprising this year LA Rams, of course, mainly just due to Matt Stafford being 117 years old and having maybe the best season of his career, been really rejuvenated. And it's also, if you look at it, kind of one of his healthiest. He's not banged up. He got a lot of stuff taken care of. So as much as I like the Lions and their coach, I'm going to go with the Rams. I would say it's because they're at home, but most of the Rams and Charger home games are 50-50 at best, so it seems. But I'll go with the Rams in that one.
It's a pick'em game for sure. I mean, with the Lions being at home, I'm going to go with Detroit. But
Detroit's on the road.
Oh, well, heck. That changes things. It'll be the Rams winning that game. I did not hear you say that.
That's where I said Lions at. There's that little word at.
Guess that's my attention span is short, but no, that it's a pick'em game. It really is. Both of those teams are loaded.
Absolutely. Well, we've ran over time here, so we're going to cut things off. Have a great rest of your Friday, and there's games going on right now as you're listening to this and various other places. So tune in. A day of double headers for Wyoming Indian, for the Lander boys, and I've got one game.
A lot of basketball.
Yeah, a lot of basketball. Go to WyoToday Facebook. We'll have the schedule up there, and and of course what station you can find it on. But of course you can always find it just by typing WyoToday in your YouTube search bar. Bring up our channel, go to live, and we'll have every game that we've got going on at that time. So you also, if you're wondering what happened last night, since we're pre-recording this, or yesterday, go to our Facebook. The score of Riverton versus Laramie girls and boys is on there right now. So for Cody Beers, it's been Kevin Shields. You've been listening to WyoToday Sports Live on KDNO 101.7.